Right. The Tome of Masks.
Mm. Dome of Masks, Book of Face. Is it working? Probably is working. Stella, is it working? I know. You have to have my undivided attention now that I started streaming. It's working. Hello and welcome to. Oh, okay. This is the Supreme Council of the Master Geeks Lodge. I am Bill Kelly, Hornswoggle the Great, and with me, my co-host is.
Rob the Black. Cigar in hand.
Hey, there you go. And welcome to episode 20. It just happens by happenstance, by serendipity, to happen on Superhero Day, National Superhero Day. Guy will be he'll be back next week. He was unable to join us tonight due to personal reasons, but he'll be back next week. And other than that, we will wax rhapsodic on for one, Superhero Day. Let's start with that because Gilgamesh is the first superhero. I was doing a little research a little while back.
I guess you could say Gilgamesh would have been one
Okay,
of the first written recorded superhero.
because doesn't Sumeria predate the Hellenistic?
Yes.
Because with Greece, you've got a you know there's a whole bunch of different superheroes in all of the Greek. Whoa, all right. No, no, no. Yes, no. And even like the Iliad and the Odyssey and other, the tragedies. There's plays and stuff that predate Shakespeare and things like that. But Hercules or Heracles, as the Greeks know him, was predominantly. There's the most material about him besides what Perseus, Bellatheron, and there's like five others that were sons of the. Zeus had a lot of kids, but those were the ones
Mhm.
that were like, the ones that were
They
written
would be the
stories. Mm.
they would be the mutants. And then you have the superhumans, the superheroes, who would be you would have Achilles
Hercules.
and all of those who were not necessarily of divine lineage, but who had superior intellect, superior strength, superior uh, physical characteristics, mental characteristics, emotional characteristics, be they what they may. But they would have been the equivalent of the superheroes. Those are the heroes of those days, those tales. Those are the ones that were shared along the coastal roads, along all the travel ways, around the campfires, and at the tavern as you made your way through those areas.
True. Well, I mean, I think every culture has the super strength myth stories
Yeah,
from
all the super attributes.
yeah,
Yes.
from Cullen or Hercules or I was trying to find it a little while back, but a they went way down in the Amazon and they found a isolated tribe, and one of them was telling a story that's kind of like their religion, where these two mythical creatures get into physical combat, and the one dude hits the other guy so hard that he flies over the land for like 2 days, and then he finally he just no, 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 and he said, and then the sun set.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa! So even isolated tribes have stories of And even I don't remember what location or what tribe or whatever. There was a lot of uh, like witch doctors in Africa that compared their psychic abilities to the strength of a lion, and that seemed to be a recurring theme in the like the 50s and the 40s and the 60s. So it's and that was probably handed down by tradition. Like I was watching kids in their mid 20s watching the movie Unbreakable with Bruce Willis and Samuel Jackson. And even they're like, "Go do stuff." It's like, yeah, that's you're not even into comic books, but most humans are geared to. You've got all these abilities and these special traits. You need to go help humanity. You need to do it. That's what I would do if I was a. Whoa! I don't. What? I've got a. What is this? Your camera is sending a low frame rate. Awesome. Ah. Okay, that's better. Wonder
That's always been a recurrent theme in every culture, in every group. Whenever a group has come together,
Mm,
I mean, you can take it, and our one viewer can remember, can harken back their uh, to their own social groups, their own social tribe, as it were. But that is a natural human characteristic to identify a positive characteristic in an individual and then take that characteristic and collect or compare it to a perceived characteristic of of something in nature that is greater than
yeah.
any individual in the group.
I'm
That's
sorry.
always been the case.
I'm sorry to interrupt you with my own personal ridiculousness, but this just happened a couple hours ago. I went in. I went out and did some errands, and locally, I'm headed down Greenway. I'm going to 32nd Street, but there's a lot of construction. Holy crap! It's like 2:30. It's rush hour. I'm going to avoid the already busy intersection all the time at rush hour that is closed down from 3 lanes to 1 lane by taking a side like 34th Street going down to Nisbet. The problem with that is I have to go by a middle school. I'm in the little Red Ranger. I'm driving. I'm not even looking at these stupid kids. I'm minding my own business. I'm going very slow because it's a crosswalk area. There's a group of like 8 of them. One of them looks over, points, and goes, "It's Santa!" And the other kids just bust up laughing. And I just chuckled and drove on. But I thought about that for a minute. I'm like, God, yeah, I kind of would be. I'm driving a red truck. And I got this. And then, hey, fuck you kids. I lost weight, damn it. Down to
Hey,
239. I'm very proud of me.
the new Santa is a buff individual.
Yeah. Well,
That's the new Santa Claus.
I think the new Santa Claus, and it does justice, is the one from Rise of the Guardians that Alec Baldwin does his voice, and he's heavily tattooed, and he's got a thick Russian accent, and he has naughty on one and nice on the other, and he fights with two. Well, they're not. It's like they took a short sword and a cutlass and put them together.
Yeah.
So it has like the flair of a cutlass, but it's basically like a large dagger. And he's got 2 of them, which, dude, badass. It's about time they gave Santa weapons. If you haven't seen Rise of the Guardians, watch it. It's amazingly fun. It's the Easter Bunny and the Sandman and the Tooth Fairy and they're actual all badasses. They fight Pitch, which he's like nightmares and he causes the children not to play and have fun. I apparently it's a book series. Well, speaking of superheroes, and I have not read it, but what's really interesting about it is Okay, the Tooth Fairy, her main thing is memories. The teeth hold memories of the children. So they're keeping all the memories of the children. The Easter Bunny is Australian and he's done by Hugh Jackman and he's got boomerangs and he's a badass. I think he has a staff at one point. And his whole thing is, and he can use wormholes. He can control, he can like teleport basically, like kind of like Nightcrawler or kind of like a boom
Okay.
tube from the DC universe. But for his thing is Easter symbolizes hope. It's spring and it's the hope of the new year. That's what the eggs are all about. That's what the eggs symbolize hope and the new chance for the new. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then Santa is all about wonder. And he was chosen because of his the look in his eyes and they know that the nightmares are coming and the man in the moon kind of speaks to them in symbols from the moon. So he sends and he kind of lets them know that they're going to have a new member of the Guardians to protect the children. And who's chosen is Jack Frost. And at first, only Santa is happy about this. The rest of them are very upset. But through time, Jack Frost symbolizes games. He's fun. That's the beginning of winter, snowball fights and snowmen and a winter wonderland and things like that. And you play a lot more games at the beginning of winter than you do when you're sick of winter at the end of it. I didn't have a lot of winters, but yeah, it was fun to go sledding and it's all in the movie. And it would have been neat to see it if there are more. Again, I haven't read the book series, or maybe they crammed the entire story into. I don't know what's going on with my what is it frame rate or your camera is sending at a low frame rate. This may be caused to high system load. Error 2013. Huzzah. If it's not one thing, it's another. So yeah,
Was
all
Santa Claus?
oh,
Oh, go ahead.
he's a superhero, but
It's-
it's weird how Santa is different all around the world.
yeah.
Like in a lot of Scandinavian, Santa just kind of like leaves candy and little stuff in your shoes, in your stockings, and it's not like American. American, oh my stocking! It's like no, no, no. They're from Europe. It's like you know,
The Santa that I like, the modern Santa that I gravitate towards is, and it's kind of a B class Christmas adventure, is the one where John Leguizamo is the bad guy. And he is attacking this wealthy family's house, trying to get the money from the matriarch. And the young girl is the only one who believes, has true belief in Santa. And the opening sequence, Santa's in a bar and he's getting a drink and he leaves a present for the bartender and he goes up on the roof and he takes off. And the backstory is that Santa was a Viking warrior and somehow he became Santa.
mm,
And he had, over the centuries, forgotten some of that until this night when he has to go and he's trying to help this family.
mm.
And, it's the modern terrorists with the automatic weapons. And,
Is
Santa's
that the
had
new
enough.
one, the big red one?
No, that's with The Rock. I haven't seen that one. I've seen bits and pieces of that one. But this one, I can't remember the name of the film, unfortunately. But it was really interesting because the guy looks the gentleman that they have playing Santa, great big guy. They got him in the full beard, but his beard looks dingy, gray. His suit looks kind of tattered, disheveled.
He looks like Dan Aykroyd in Trading Places.
Almost that
Lewis.
bad. But he shows up and the
So,
bad guys are there. And, he's fighting them in an outshed, an outbuilding,
really.
and these guys have got their automatic weapons, and he's and it's violent in that he's killing people with using skates as weapons. He's killing people using sledgehammers. He's delivering to the naughty.
Yes, they need to be punished. Well, that
Yep. And
Krampus
he
is.
goes through and just eliminates all the bad guys. The end of the tale, all the bad guys get eliminated, and Santa is rejuvenated. Everybody believes in Santa.
Every year, every movie. Christmas is in peril. It was last year. But, I mean, you even have. It's interesting how they sneak superpowers into the Bible, disguised as force of will in some instances, like Job and Lot's wife, and many, many, many others, and Methuselah. But then they also do like blatant superpowers with Samson and Delilah.
Yep. You have oh, it's the oldest sequence of tales. Again, you always have, depending upon the circumstances that a culture or a tribe is going, they will revere specific characteristics. If you have to go to war, if you're in the midst of a war, you're going to revere the strongest. So this particular member of the tribe was able to kill 5 enemies in one attack, whatever the case may be. This particular member of the tribe had an extreme intellect and was a great tactician. This particular member of the tribe had a very keen eyesight or very keen hearing. This particular member of the tribe was exceptional at running and was able to go through and do things. So you will always find those particular characteristics that were of most and greatest use in that instance. They will be revered, they will be handed down. And then it becomes a game of telephone because
Yeah.
as it goes, the story will change and certain aspects will be exaggerated, either for the interest of telling the tale or for the interest of getting forward some moral
Uh,
attribute. I have to teach this next generation these particular ideas and ideals to carry forward. So I can take the tale of, I can add these particular components to it and help tell the tale, help to bring forward the detail. And that's where the hero, the superhero, comes from. The hero always exists. The hero is starts as a
oh yeah.
human tale, starts as a real tale. Somebody had to overcome something, and they did it on our behalf, or they did it on it. It helped the greater number, the greater good of our tribe. But then it becomes a superhero tale as it carries forward over time, because now in generations, some of the detail is lost. In 5 generations, nobody remembers exactly who it looked like, but it becomes very easy for me to say, well, he really looked like you guys.
Yeah.
He looked just like you. She was just like you. They were just like we are today. And that way, now you have the bind. So that the person that recognizes that and carries that forward in a broad sense of of the term becomes a superhero themselves, in that they understand how to carry this tale of action, of adventure that is based in some fact in their history. Carry it along and make it the moral tale.
Mm.
Make it something that then they're going to carry forward. So the storyteller and the soothsayer and the moralist becomes a superhero in their culture without necessarily getting their name given that attribute, except in some cases, because we do still know some of the great storytellers in some of the ancient cultures. Those names get passed on because you have the storyteller. More recently, we had just mentioned on it Shakespeare. Shakespeare was a storyteller. He was a crafter of tales. He was telling historical tales, and he was giving new attributes and trying to teach moral tales, moral codes, and values to the general public. But now he has gained certain superhero powers because of his ability to identify things, to put them into words, to craft them in such a way that they carry that moral tale and they have carried on. Chaucer was another one who was able to do that. You can go back through time. You had so many, in every culture, you had some of these storytellers, the oral, these who carried on the oral tradition, because even the written form is nothing more than a more permanent version of the oral tale. So
Very true.
these have carried on throughout the millennia. And so, in some ways, they have themselves become the superheroes of the further generations. Uh, they are the Watchers from the Marvel universe.
Mm.
I can tell you the tale, but I'm not supposed to get involved.
Yeah, we're not allowed
Here's
to
the
be
tale.
involved. We just talk and watch. Utu and the others. I, it's mostly for, well, religion and history without facts a lot of times. But crazy people and not too bright people need to be kept in line. And a lot of that has to do with conditioning. And that's where fairy tales come in, basically. Which I posted a long time ago and forgot all about it. And then it just was a meme again. I think I reposted it again. I hope it's true. I don't know if it really is. But Western fairy tales begin with Once Upon a Time. Apparently, Korean fairy tales begin with back when tigers used to smoke. What? You're sure that's not a rakshasa, right? Check its hands. Look at its hands. Are they on backwards? We're in trouble. That's a demon. That's not a tiger. We need to leave now. I mean, yeah, they're lawful, but evil is at the end of that statement.
Yeah.
Evil. So even in like Mr. Glass's rant that superpowered people, it was written on the walls, it was written as graffiti, and I'm sure that there have been many individuals that have been lost to time that were superpowered people, mutants, and the powers that be. We can't have that running around. Get rid of this guy. Kill her. So there you go. There's my
Well,
theory on that.
if you still want to see that, if you want to see the earliest version in real life, in current life, you had spoken about some of the tribes that had been found over the you know last 100 years in uh, South America, Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, areas where people necessarily hadn't been. If you look at the native tribes, Native American tribes today in North America and Central America, they're still crafting those tales. They're still telling those tales in the oral tradition. Granted, they're being written down, and the younger generations are taking a little more reverence to them because they have the opportunity to rediscover this cultural heritage of it. But they worked very hard to keep that tradition. Their grandparents now and great grandparents now worked very hard to keep those traditions, even though they were told they had to be eradicated. They couldn't do them anymore. They kept them. They carried them on. They carried that oral tradition. And now I'm seeing it with a number of different members of the First Nations that are putting that information out there. They're leveraging TikTok, they're leveraging Facebook, they're leveraging YouTube to bring forward a lot of this history that they are becoming aware of only in the last couple of decades, the last century, because they have the opportunity to pull this information back together again and have it shared. And they understand the richness of it. But it's as close as we can get to going back a millennia and seeing how that type of thing was done, how it was carried forward. So it's rather interesting to think about when you look at it. You take into your thought that these tales have been handed down in some form or fashion in that community for thousands of years in some cases. And they are as close as we can get to seeing how it was done traditionally. Other areas that you would see that would be in the steppe in Russia, in Mongolia, those areas. So these areas where you're much further away from the modern world and the modern government group, whatever that group may be, that is trying to drive the present idea of culture and society. Um, so you get to see some of this past, and it's rather interesting to look at least for an old guy like me.
Mm. For crusty old guys like us. Well, Tarzan is a superhero. Santa's a superhero. I would even go so far as to say Mowgli is a superhero, only it may be more open minded youth that he's able to talk to animals than, raised by wolves than actual. But then, like you said, some of them are just people that become heroes, and then a very small group are actually superheroes. So,
Exactly. I mean, you had brought up the Bible. Some of the
I
some
try
of the
not to, but
biblical
yes, I did.
superheroes. Yeah. Well, I mean, think of it this way: Moses was a biblical superhero.
Oh
He
yeah,
had divine intervention.
it's like a
Job
super cleric.
was exactly. So all of these characters, and I will call them characters because they reside within a book that is man's interpretation. So all of these characters that reside within that are superheroes and supervillains.
Yeah.
And that is how they were crafted to set those individuals above everyone who was reading
Mm.
that particular tale, that story, that were intended to receive the moral lesson of it. And that's done with intent.
Fair enough. Well, you got a lot of weird shit going on in the Bible too, because it's a book of moral coding and not, you're not supposed to focus on the facts, and then you're supposed to focus on the lesson. This is what happens. This is how he fucked up. This is why he got punished. This is why don't do that. You said in 5 generations they won't even know what he looked like anymore.
Yeah.
And it just blows my mind that I'm experiencing it in, well, one, because I'm old enough to be Tanner's dad. He's 22. He's the same age as my youngest youngest kid. And all the just useless crap that I forced down my kids' throats, this guy's never even heard of any of that stuff. He's never even seen the movie Willow. I almost fell out of my chair.
No.
What? Speak not these words again in this office. But then again,
The,
oh, go ahead, sorry.
no, I was going to say the saving grace for the current generation. So the generations raised in the 20th century
Mm,
and the 21st century have a bit of a head start, or they're able to extend the generation gap
yeah,
that they'll be able to know the actual visual of these superheroes
mm,
because of the development of tintype, photography, videography,
yeah,
and the like. So now the actual image, not a human generated interpretation of what they saw, will exist as long as those pieces of media
yeah.
exist. So now my grandchildren can know what Abraham Lincoln looked like because there are photographs. And we can say this is a genuine photo. This is not an artist's rendition. This is not a caricature. This is not a painting.
This man
This
was
is
freakishly tall. Yeah, for that
exactly
time,
this is
for
a
our time,
photograph
even.
of this man,
Yeah.
this woman, these people. So this exists. So the being able to see that will exist, but being able to genuinely recognize it, that becomes the next question. Will they understand? We're still probably going to be within that 5 generation gap where there will be those rare exceptions who can look at something and say, yes, this is the tale behind this. This is the detail
Yeah,
behind it.
my
And
grandmother
I
told me
can
all about that.
convey
Yeah,
it. Exactly. I can convey to you this moral value, this moral teaching, this idea, this thought, this ideal that comes with this tale. But the number of people who will do that will slowly become fewer and fewer. And some of those tales will change over time
oh yes.
as some of the detail gets lost. If a manuscript falls away and it's not continued, then some of those tales will fall away as well.
Well, what's absolutely fantastic, and it's something that we need to think about when and if we ever encounter another alien race, is that uh, so we've had civilization, let's say for 20,000 years, because they keep finding shit. And whether we came up with the idea or whether the idea was brought to us, messages and images and things get, like you said, they change over time, over generation, over the retelling. It's the operator game. Like they even made fun of it in The Simpsons, that one episode. Skinner says the teachers are going to crack Purple Monkey dishwasher. Well, that's it! Especially for that Purple Monkey dishwasher comment, which Christine and I and crap, what's his name? Thought that was just like the greatest name for a band ever, Purple Monkey Dishwasher. Which The Simpsons came up with some of the best quotes that could be the greatest band names, and there's finally a death metal themed, Simpsons themed band out there. Have you heard about this? They're all dressed as Ned Flanders. They have and they got the mustache and the glasses, and they're called O'Killy Do Kill. It's it's kill Oakley. You know, we always says Oakley Dokley neighborino. So it's Oakley Dokilly. That's the name of their band. It's fucking hysterical. And I was
Hey,
telling,
you
oh, go
you
ahead.
got your stick, you run with it.
You really do. Well, no, I was sending you guys the pictures, you and Ron, and well, Guy wasn't on. Yeah, I think I sent them on. Guy's not on Telegram for whatever reason. He won't convert and be one of us.
Telegram is a whole nother world. If you're not a paid subscriber,
Oh, I don't pay for
you
it.
are open to crap.
God,
I keep getting all kinds of garbage. Hey, hi, sexy. Let me talk to you.
oh
Hey,
yeah,
do you remember me? And
there's all
it's
these.
you can't block any of that stuff unless you pay for a subscription.
Oh, I just block it for the free what I've got. But now you like made me lose my train of thought because yeah, all those AI generated women. Hi. Oh God, go away. Um, I skipped a groove.
We were sharing the bands.
Oh, so I finally got the second storage unit all because Ed was asking me about it. He's like, "Yeah, don't you guys like have five of them?" It's like, "Oh God, no." At the most, we had like three or four. But now my dad's gone, and all the stuff. My mom, I've been collecting Christmas stuff for over 60 years, but we don't want 80% of that stuff. You should be selling it online at this point. I mean, to you, it's your hoard and your collection, the way I look at my comic books or all my action figures that never come out of the box. But to, you know, you don't talk to Maria anymore, and Beth and I are really into Halloween. And you think Halloween is neat and fun, but Christmas is your holiday. You go crazy for Christmas because, I mean, the whole house transforms. Used to. But now that it's empty and now that it's gone, I texted Cliff because he's still not doing good. All right, hurry up. You got to get all healed up. I got to bring my drums over to your house and we're going to form a band and we'll give it a Simpsons name Monkey Knife Fight. Because that's one of the lines from Homer. Oh, the average guy will never know after you go 3 miles out in international waters. Anything you can do, anything you want. They'll never know the joys of a monkey knife fight. There's two monkeys and Moe's there and Barney and oh, oh, he ain't gorgeous no more. I wouldn't want real monkeys to fight with knives, just for a disclaimer in the show. But in a cartoon, that's fucking hysterical. There, I said it.
Let's say that ranks up
Cheers.
there with Family Guy and the Angry Monkeys in Chris's Closet.
Yeah, that keeps pointing at him. Only these monkeys are armed and only fight each other. It's only implied written consent, not oral consent. Implied oral consent, not confirmed written consent. But heroes have been through all of our society all the whole time, I think.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's
Well, we've talked about
Alexander or Hercules or
it falls to human nature.
yeah,
Again, the human mind is wired, regardless of your condition. The human mind has been wired since the first true Homo sapiens to be wary of danger because danger equals harm, but also to be alert to the strengths and to understand strength in numbers and the ability to protect, seek out that which will protect. That falls in line with the fight or flight that is the most basic instinct for all humans.
yeah,
So the hero has is a natural extension of that. So when you find When you find the person who's willing to pick up the stick and beat back the charging lion, or to defend against the onslaught of another tribe, then that person then becomes gravitated towards, because they represent the safety that the human mind is looking.
which is, yeah, I mean, it's what heroes exist for, patrol and safety and all that fun. But it goes way back. I mean, it goes back to the beginning of the beginning, and even to our modern day.
Yep,
And even though the telling of tales changes, the message may be slightly altered, but the main root of it is still the same.
at its most basic level, the same tales have been retold for tens, if not hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah. And the best part is that I was mad for a while. They keep remaking and rebooting movies and redoing that. We did that in the 70s too.
Oh yeah,
Only they were more horrific then. Everybody had bell bottoms and shit. So I there is no new. We're all on the same planet. So we keep recycling the old and pretending it's new so that we can have the feeling of new again. Because new in your world only exists for a very short time.
exactly.
When you're young, when you meet a new person, when you're introduced to a new concept or a new idea. But eventually, things get worked through. And that's not bad. They've proven that watching reruns, watching your favorite show over and over and over again is actually good for your anxiety and all of the wiring of your brain, because there's comfort in the rerun. You don't always need to have super edgy, roller coaster
Yeah,
entertainment.
it's the steady, the consistent, that brings a certain level of comfort. It also physiologically, if it was a program or a story that you enjoyed in some way, shape, or form, that will elicit dopamine, which brings that feeling of euphoria, however short or long lived that may be. That's a big part of it. That's why people seek out those things. That's why people will gravitate towards particular types of tales, particular types of books and novels, motion pictures. They enjoy certain kinds of music because it elicits a certain feeling, and it elicits that dopamine reaction. It harkens back to a point of some form of pleasure, safety, and cognition that they look for. Others may not recognize it, may not understand it, but then again, it is a truly internal condition. You will gravitate towards others who appear to have a similar cognition, a similar idea, a similar affinity, but each will have their own internal processing of it that is nuanced enough that it is not going to be the same, even amongst twins. They will process ever so slightly different.
Yeah. Uh, that really brings to mind ancient Greek philosopher Heraclitus. A man never steps in the same river twice because he is never the same man. What the hell is going on outside? It's Monday night. Why are all these neighbors having all these friends over? I'm terribly sorry. A man never steps. Where was I? The man never steps in the same river twice because he's never the same man, and it's never the same river. As much
Yep.
as we crave this, what you were just discussing, that home feeling, the stable feeling, the monotony that you reject when you're a teenager plus, and then you crave it when you're in your twilight years. We're we're rocketing through the universe and constantly changing. So our whole the stability and the simultaneous stability and myth of tradition has always fascinated me because you will meet people that are absolutely out of their fucking mind and they're protecting their version of whatever tradition is involved with whatever you happen to cross. And then you meet other people where like, yeah, that was cool, so I borrowed from that. Yeah, do you know anything about it? No. Well, here, let me tell you about it. No, not even interested. Blah 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 blah. Can't hear you. Bye. So it's constantly fascinated me that it's not only what you said, but also how your if you're beaten over the head to death by a song on the radio, you're not really going to give the band a chance if you're already sick of hearing the song. But then when someone drags you to a concert and you're like, oh my God, I was wrong. These guys are fucking amazing. You're allowed that growth. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to realize that your perception was based on two different kind of things, really. Your perception is based on the rejection of the materialistic capitalism and the whole, buy this. Oh, these guys. Ah! And like Ronnie James Dio said it best that MTV killed heavy metal because, a video killed the radio star. Girls wanted to see Bret Michaels and uh, Kip Winger and Sebastian Bach, and dude, your best rockers look like Ronnie James Dio, and
And Giddy Lee and all of these guys. Joe Walsh. I mean, these were
Joe
not the
Walsh is a
poster
perfect
boys.
example.
These were not the poster boys that the girls wanted
Yeah,
in their bedrooms, but the voices, their ability to characterize something in just the voice
yeah,
was second to none in many cases.
because there's a. I think, and it's even in the comic book world too, because you have this. I think that it was probably the same all throughout the last 8,000 years, but I think throwing America into the mix and the fact that we've lasted so long as a representative democracy and not somebody went flying down my street that just totally pisses me off because I'm not the only one who owns cats. So, but the last like 200 years, we've done just about every fashion there is combined with every other. We've gone through a lot of like, okay, look at music in the 40s as opposed to music in the 80s and music now. Bands used to dress all the same. They used to dance on stage. They used to, and then you hit Elvis. And then the interesting thing is, much probably like the the Pilgrims and then later the Diggers in England, how you had this super religious Reformation by these like staunch religious crazy people. You've got the same kind of thing going on where not only is America a melting pot, but a lot of England is a melting pot. So you've got rude boys and punks and well, like Paul was educating us, skinheads in England have a totally different. Black shirts are the racists. Skinheads were like dudes who were really, really into ska in like the 70s. And now that has like flipped. And, well, that even makes my point even more so. Everything changes, nothing stays the same. Everything changes. So it's hard to pick like one thing and like chain yourself to that rock. We're gonna stand for this, and you can't. Oh, never mind. Where's the keys? Do you have the keys? You threw them away.
Yeah.
What the hell is the matter? Why would you throw them away? So yeah.
Well, America, for so very long, there wasn't in the world, there wasn't that much of a melting pot zone that exists like what America had been over the last 250 years, 300 years. So you had certain areas, Northern Africa. There were areas in Northern Africa where all these cultures came together, but it was a single point where they all came together, and certain ideas would get filtered around. Little bits would be taken back home when somebody left this area, but it wasn't someplace where people, where great hordes of people came to live, to stay, and then to exchange these ideas. It was a place where people came in. We're going to
Traded.
trade things, but we're going to return back to our land, our home, on a regular basis. The United States was an area where it initially it was an area where everybody came together from wherever, and they brought their culture and they brought their history and they brought all of these things. And through time and immersion, they all melded together. Each group held their own history, held their own background, held a lot of that. But as generations went along and these generations grew up with others from other cultures, those younger generations started learning some of these things and picking up things and exchanging things and learning all these new things. And that's why you've seen so much of the progression here. But it also falls back to the idea, the most basic form is the word mine. And I'm not talking about a hole in the ground. I'm talking about possessive mind. Everybody has mind. That's where the idea of the safe place comes from, whether or not somebody wants to acknowledge or admit to it. Children, teenagers, adults, elderly, all have this concept of mine. This is my shirt. This is my cigar. This is my room. This is my home. This is my town. This is my state. This is my culture. So that's where the safety comes in.
My
But then they,
island. Sorry, you said it
exactly.
first, Stephen.
But then
And Braveheart.
they all pull in over years and years and decades and centuries. They all pull in little bits and pieces from other groups, from other places. And that's how these progressions happen. And what I characterize as mine, that I have shared with my son, he characterizes in a different way mine, because he's also pulled in things from other areas. And then that becomes a part of it. My grandchildren have also done that as they've gone along and gone through it. They're picking up bits and pieces and they're learning different things, and those things that speak to them become part of mine. And then you start to gravitate again towards the group that has a similar idea of what lies within mine. So all the little girls like this particular band or this particular singer or this particular character or this particular performer. They become a group, but each one of them has mind. So you have all of these different sets of mind that pull together into that idea. Then you start getting into the Venn diagram. Here's mine. but mine also encompasses something over here. And this is your mind, and your mind encompasses something until you see this bigger overall
I
where
like
there's all of this shared.
the Venn diagram for being married. Your stuff, her stuff, her stuff. It's just all her stuff.
That's hey, what's yours is mine, and what's mine is mine. Thank you, dear.
Thank you. Yes, this will go lovely over here. What? That? No, we're getting rid of that. Why? I love this. That's why we're getting rid of it. Oh, yeah. No, it's mine is probably the. It's probably like the whole "the gods must be crazy." I was telling the guys at work about that movie, and I have a stupid brain. I only remember facts that are completely unimportant that no one will ever need. You know.
No, they have a moral tale or a connection. And you remember them because they link to something. That's why you hold on. It has a value. Your brain has said this has a value, even if overtly, on the surface, it doesn't necessarily connect to anything that somebody else, even you, may not necessarily see that.
Mm.
But there's a subconscious connection that says you need to remember this because it's going to come back. It feeds to something else. It's a way station or it's a direct link to something else that carries forward. That's the biggest part of the human mind. That's all of this, the current uh, the current excitement over autism, that is probably the strongest condition in the autistic mind is the fact that the autistic mind is making these connections that so many other people would not see, could not understand or validate in their more narrow scope of vision. But the autistic is seeing this as this leads here, and it also leads to these other points, and they come back, and this autistic mind can trace, may not be able to necessarily articulate, but they can trace for themselves. These are all the points of connection until I get to this endpoint, which has a value and a meaning, and a standard and an understanding.
Mm.
And so it's an extraordinary place to be if you're working with that kind of a thought process. If you want to really characterize it, think about it this way. If you took Chat GPT or any of the AI systems that have this vast connection, and they can make all of these different movements and points, but you take away the output stream to anybody else. That's where you're at. You've got a mind that is processing things, but they're not outputting that information to anybody else because there's no understanding or need. I don't have to tell you why I went there. I went there. This has meaning and value and understanding, and it comes back to me to give me an explanation. That's where a lot of autistic, the parents of autistic children have a greatest amount of difficulty because they can't share in that. So you start to panic. What's wrong with my child? Nothing is wrong with your child. You can't conceive on the same level that they. It's not good or bad. Not to say that they're broken or you're broken.
It's just the way it is.
It's that you can't conceive on the same level that they can this particular item. You took the short path to get to an answer. They have encompassed so many other things into the path to get them where they want to go.
Mm. So you're saying I'm autistic? Thanks.
You could very well be. It would be. I would
Uh,
not be surprised with the scaling that needs to happen, scales of autism, the characteristics of autism. I would not be surprised if there wasn't, just pulling it out of my ass, 90% of the population of the world would scale on the autistic scale somewhere in certain aspects because so many people can. tell you that they characterize, I don't know how I got from here to there by talking about these five other things.
Yeah.
But it's like when we talk about the geeks versus the nerds will be able to take this long, involved pathway when they're talking about a subject in which they are a nerd. The geeks, which most nerds can fall into a geek culture because they nerd out on a
For a little
specific
bit.
item, but they geek
Yeah.
in so many other areas. And the geeks can make some of those paths, but they can't necessarily follow the nerd through all the nuance to get to the
No,
end. They have to make a leap.
they have to. Yeah. Because,
So take that, RFK Jr.
oh, dude, don't get political on the show. But
I'm not getting political. I'm talking about stupidity. There's a difference.
any. So yeah, I there was a big push for autistic super powered people, and that started showing up in the '90s, I think, in the late '80s. The pit for Marvel for the new universe, where the white event happens and a bunch of people get superpowers.
Yep.
Uh, but like the movie Silent Fall, Richard Dreyfuss's character said, "We don't know anything about autistics. We don't really know the people that are severely autistic. 5,000 years ago, they were worshipped as gods. 500 years ago, we used to lock them in cages."
Yep. The oracles
Yep.
and the like. Those who could draw those strange connections. So it's it's not an unusual characteristic. Again, it falls within a spectrum. As with all things, that's the best part and the worst part of the human mind. The human intellect, the human mind, the cognitive condition falls on such wide spectrums that you really can't characterize anybody into the same definitive grouping as anyone else. There are too many nuances that come into play. That's why I'm unique, just like everyone else.
You're all individuals. I'm not. Yeah. I, Humans love fairy tales. They're obsessed with magic. Says with the supernatural. Oh, I had another ghost. I've been asking all the coworkers. So are people seeing more stuff now that because okay, let me back up. Saturday, there was a call from the restaurant at the top of the mountain. Bring your first aid kit. Oh crap. That's all we heard. We're thinking it was a guest. It was actually a coworker. It was our buddy Carl who went on a ghost hunt with us, and the chair was moved at the end of the ghost hunt. And everybody agrees that you would have heard somebody open the door to come in and move the chair. That's what I'm saying. It's a I don't know how this got here. None of us do. But if somebody walked in, we would have heard them, unless it was a prank, and this was planned, and they sent this kid down there. He's a man. He's not a kid. So Tanner goes up, and Tanner wasn't with us for that ghost hunt. Tanner's been on multiple ghost hunts with me at previous times, and I didn't go because sometimes it's, hey, you answered the call, go do it. A lot of times it's, hey, I got the last one, you go handle this. I'm tired of filling out reports. So it was his turn. I spent most of it was prom for Moon Valley High School. So I spent a good hour and a half, couple hours directing traffic. You got the big booming voice. You have the big booming voice. You should go do this. Okay, I'll go yell at people for an hour. Where you going? So Yeah, and it's prom. The problem was that the kids were told that prom was at the ballroom, but it was actually at Highland. Going the wrong way. It's over here. They moved it. No, it's over here. They're teenagers, so you can't use the F word. But in your mind, I fucking work here. It's over here. It's very nice. They've got black tablecloths, these nice gold runners, these cute little. It's prom, dude. They went all out. Everything's crazy in there. It's beautiful. For 3 hours, 4 hours, from 8 to 11. 3 hours. Time. So these kids show up dressed to the nines. And honestly, the parents were the ones that weren't fucking listening. The kids listened because they're at prom. And then we get a call. Because at one point, dude, it's like 9:30, 10. You don't really need me here anymore. I haven't seen anybody in like 5, 10 minutes. It's prom. And there's only 450 of them. And, well, I'm not good at speed counting, but I would say about that many went in. And then we looked on the monitor, and here's this just mob of kids. I think they're all in there. And then, sure enough, we get a call later. Come back to Highland. There's been, bring the med kit. Oh, crap. But it wasn't one of the kids or one of the chaperones. It was they hired a characterist to draw pictures of the kids.
Okay.
So we don't even have to go near the guy because this is way out of our jurisdiction. By the time we get there, the paramedics already have him hooked up to the little portable human checker, which in about 100 years will be like Star Trek. But they like check him out and they get all his vitals. So Fabian and Dan Creech and I are standing on the patio for the Highland because there's no reason for us to be down there. We'll be in the way. And they check him out. He's fine. They come back up. It's kind of still going on. It's starting to, this is after 10:30 by the time this happens. So it's starting to die, but the music is still thumping. This is still a big party. So the paramedics get to the I'm trying. There's 6 paramedics, and there's 1 or 2 guys in the engine still, and they're bringing up all their bags in the machine. And, hey, how you doing? How's it going? Having prom. You want to dance? No, we're good. And they laugh about that. So how's the artist? Yeah, he's gonna make it. He's be all right. He'll be okay. And then you're going to totally relate to this because the look on their face, he'd be a lot fucking better if he fucking eats something. And they just smiled and walked on. Dude, it's prom. There's plates of cookies and bags of, what do you want? Dorito? It's like for lunch.
Yeah.
The single serving bags of chips. There's a pile of them. Dude, you couldn't ask a kid, hey, bring me a chocolate chip cookie and You couldn't ask the woman. 27 chaperones and you couldn't ask one of them for a cookie? Fuck, if
Yeah.
I was a parent, I would have already brought them to here. Eat the oatmeal. The sugar is just going to hit your system and actually do more harm than good. You know,
So eat this. Here's orange juice. Here's some soda pop. Here's just, if I
yeah.
need to, I'll go to the kitchen and get you a sandwich.
I'm no paramedic. I'm no first responder, but I'm a fucking parent, and I know.
I'm going to feed you now.
So they were just like they were happy that he was okay, but they were like annoyed that and they got in their thing, and we tried. They left, and that was that. But it was a lot of the same of like Why do we always have to have like the paramedics here lately for an event? It's just annoying. It's all preventable. So drink lots of water. Be sure if you're low blood sugar, eat something before. You're only there for 3 damn hours. You were there for 2.5, and all of a sudden, I felt really weird. I hate being everybody's dad all the time. It's annoying. I'm that at work now. Close the damn door. We've got the AC. They
Get
don't want to
off the
be,
lawn, damn
yeah,
it!
they don't want to be yelled at me, so they just do what I tell them to do. I'm not the supervisor. Favy just laughs. But I catch him closing the door all the time, and he's a dad. He's got 2 kids, and his youngest is 12, I think. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, it's always interesting how, when in big groups, the alpha males will try to assume power in the group, and you have to like beat them down. Or God damn it, we had this one kid who I think he was older, and the people he was dropping off at prom were like his younger classmate friends, or maybe he already graduated and they're seniors now, because most of them look like it's Christ. I haven't been in high school since then. I guess they were seniors. I know there's another prom this coming Saturday, but everyone was saying it's like this one was really cool. They didn't break into the gate and try to jump into the pool. Hey, hold on, the night is young yet. Don't just relax.
Say, give it a minute. Somebody will.
Uh, we should just like get a Motel 6 and like hang out, or you'd find out it's like so and so rented a room, so you'd all just like hang out. There wasn't like this crazy let's trash the room, dude, because most people were like, dude, he has to pay for that. What's wrong with you? So I mean, I'm sure it happened. I'm just saying within the couple parties that I went to, because anyway.
You guys need to set up some projectors down in the down in the little canyon area.
Hmm.
When you have these events, you get that one group. Just say, if you guys heard about the things that happen at night, you stand up here and you watch. Some interesting things happen. Like, oh my God, what did you see?
That's our cue. Click.
There was something down. Are you sure? Hang on a second.
Because we have projectors, but normally it's like the company who's having the event's name, and then we project it on the mountain, and it's like the size of a house because
You get the
it's
little
light.
projectors that you can just project a little image of somebody running along the bottom, and then
That would be awesome. Just have it disappear. No, this is kind of like what just happened on like Wednesday. It it just reaffirms that Wendy won't go into the ballroom unless you go with her. You have to like go with her. You like I did this. I did this. You should do the ballroom. Oh, I'm scared. Okay, I'll go do it. But
on my way.
the first night she went in there, she saw an arm, and there was no one in there. And we walked all around the kitchen. There's nobody in here. I saw an arm. I saw an arm. Honey, you saw a ghost because there's nobody in here. And there's tons of ghost reports about this place. People don't even feel safe peeing here because they feel like somebody's watching them. I use the bathroom all the time. Yeah, you kind of get that. You get used to it. So I sing to the ghost. The ghost, if there is one, has to just fucking hate me because it has to listen to my bullshit all night long. So I go up to the. I'm on the 3rd level. The power is off to the elevator. Everybody has left. There's no one around. I mean, there's in the ballroom on the 3rd story. There's no one around. And if somebody is walking around, I'm going to hear them. So, and this has been under constant debate for the past couple weeks. What is the best way to check all the doors to see if they're locked in this room, in this 3-story building that has multiple doors on every floor, and in the back on the first floor, the main, where the staff, where the kitchen is.
Yeah.
So everybody has a different way that they do it, because it's like when Pac-Man first came out and everybody's a fucking expert on, oh, you go down and then you go over and then you go take left and then up and then right and then. So it's kind of the same thing where I've found that if you go all the way to the top, you can go all the way over, but all the doors are locked, so you can't get into anything. And there's 2 storage rooms up there, but the bell desks, or the ballroom staff, different department, they are not involved. The ballroom, not bell desk, sorry, ballroom's really good at locking all the doors. Really good. Like, unless there is craziness going on and it's a full moon and they just had a huge thing, you're only going to find like 1 to 3 doors that are unlocked on average. Or the most common thing, and I just laugh when I find it, is, and it mostly happens on the first floor, because that's where the mechanism is. So the doors that line the ballroom's divided up into sections, into salons. So it's like A through K, or M, or O, or P. And the higher you go in the alphabet, you're going upstairs. So along the first floor, there's doors like every couple feet. So you have to check all those doors. So inevitably, when they're locking the doors, and again, they're super thorough. This is, because they get paid, especially the supervisors and the managers. They get paid, very well. So the door will look locked. You'll see the deadbolt, but when you grab both doors, it'll come apart because they haven't switched the thing in the middle to keep it from opening. So that's always fun, because you expect to see a face, a skeletal, ghostly, or bruised, since rumor has it on Reddit that the guy that fell off the mountain, it's interesting too, because they're like, a guy was here for a wedding and he fell off the mountain and now he haunts the ballroom. And I think that happened in the 80s. But then we heard another one about a bride, and I can't remember where the rest of it was, but then we actually found the actual newspaper article, July 1993, or was it June? I'm getting older. I can't remember things like I used to. Where it has the names of the bride and one of the bridesmaids and they're the reason that we don't let the guests take golf carts around the resort anymore, that we insist on driving you, because they were up at the different point of view. They got super drunk. It was an older golf cart. It wasn't governed. And the governed ones maybe go 15 miles an hour, tops. They don't go fast. You don't want them to go fast, because people jump in front of you. If I had a nickel for every drunk guy that jumped in front, hey, give me a ride! In the 6 months that I've worked there, I'd be rich. Oh my God. It happens like almost every other night. Where are you going? I'm going to building 28. You going there? No, just get in, because there's no point in arguing with you, because you're just going to filibuster, and it's just easier to drop you off while you spill wine or beer or mixed whatever all over the inside of my. I'll just pressure wash it later at the garage.
That's right. I'll hose it out.
It'll happen. So that happens a lot, actually. That is like the most frequent thing. I'm not bell desk, But the ballroom is very good. So you only find like a couple rooms that are unlocked, or it's probably the same thing that happens at every other job. Did you lock that? Uh, yeah. Okay, good. Then me an hour later, son of a bitch. Okay,
Yeah, I'm
because
on it, locked.
yeah, I don't get mad or upset. It's more of like, oh, I'm glad I got this because I don't want to get the people I work with in trouble because all the people that work at the ballroom are cool. Dan and
Yeah,
Janet and Basilio and Steph and all that. And we work in tandem together, and we have this relationship. I had to push a bar up a hill because that it needed to go back to the move it all the way through. Eh,
yeah.
that's one of the. I'm big, and I didn't want the ladies to do it. They're little, so
Well, yeah. And they're the
yeah.
ones that take care of it. Hey, there's extra food. Here, here's a soda. Enjoy.
Well,
Thank
not
you.
even that. If I have a situation and I need to go talk to somebody, that's way more important. Where, hey, this is going on. Oh, talk to they know, or they can
Exactly.
fix it right away. So I'd like that having that rapport because security is way more about fishing and negotiations and customer service and signing in and out keys. Jesus Christ, I never thought I was going to grow older to be Hagrid. Rubius Hagrid,
Yep.
keys and grounds at Hogwarts. That's all I fucking do all day is signing keys and pass cards because housekeeping, they don't really have a lot of cards, but they have a shit ton of keys for a bunch of different vehicles, whether it's housemen or the team of housekeeping ladies. And then Prop Ops has both. They've each got their own card so they can get in and out of every room everywhere, but they also have like two or three of them are designated keys because that's the job they're doing today, and they're going to need to go into rooms that don't have the mag locks on them. They're old school rooms that haven't been upgraded. So you've got to stay because if I had a nickel for every time I used my key, I want to get paid for when I use my keys and when no, I don't because there's like big stretches in the beginning that nothing happens like that. Or it's just hi. Oh, okay, thank you. No, you don't have to sign. I'll do. Okay, you do it anyway.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, escape while you can. That's what I always tell them. They laugh at me.
Run away.
Well, when you got training there, you work the day shift first, and then I transitioned to the second shift, which I love everybody I work with, but this shift is kind of killing me because I am such an early bird that I'm still getting up at 5 and 6 in the morning. Yes, do stuff. And then by the night, I've had like 2 pots of coffee, and I'm overtired. So I stay up till 1 or 2, and then I can't wake up. So it's a vicious cycle. I'm trying
Yeah.
to break out of it, but we'll see what happens. In the meantime, ghosts. So, and this is really irrelevant to everything because you need a little key card to get in there. Otherwise, you're not getting in at all. There is a door that, for the last 5 months, I thought it was a storage unit. I wasn't thinking for roof access. But I opened this door and I was like, whoa, oh, okay. It's a way down to the second story for the ballroom roof. So it's like, well, it's like a half a story down because the ballroom is like 2 stories for the main thing. It's tall when you're in there. Tall enough that the lighting crew had come by and they wanted to install the spotlight, and the 6 foot ladder, even on crates, wasn't enough. So I had to get prop ops. I'm like, do you guys have a 10 or a 15-foot ladder? And Mike was like, I'm like, I'm doing the same thing, dude. I've seen it. I just cannot remember for the life of me. We're on this huge resort on the side of a mountain. It might be because, well, people use them and they move. And he's like, I can't remember either. So eventually he found it. They helped the guys out, but it was like, holy crap, super scavenger hunt. Is it no? No. Is it near the? No, we already looked
Yeah.
there. That's a problem with a huge place if you don't store everything exactly in the same place. Where is it? I fuck if I know. It could be anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's but I mean it all worked out in the end. So I'm up there. I'm on the third floor. I am in the area one floor higher than I had the second to last ghost experience where I thought I saw the little old lady. So I'm like above that area because I walk in, hit the third elevator button, went all the way up to the top. I get out. I check the storage room door. It's cleaning supplies and chairs and bullshit in there. It's not a it's storage. No, it's storage for this place. It's there's nothing exciting or worth of any money in here. Don't even waste your time breaking in. It's like podiums and
Yeah.
columns and it's like decorative shit up there. I mean, they need it from time. There's like round tables you would need for the accent of a room, or if they're like, hey, can I get a little taller table that's small and round for my laptop? So while I'm sitting here, I can get up and turn. And I got two laptops. And I mean, okay. And ballroom takes care of that. So I've known now for a couple weeks that this is not a room, it's roof access. I go to walk and I stick my arm out to go out the window, and a total blackout of this light that's shining me right in the eyes. I'm not looking at the light, I'm looking forward at the door, but all of a sudden, like, whoa, am I having a stroke? And I look all around and there's nothing, no one.
Yeah.
So either I was having a stroke at that moment or more supernatural fun. So then I was talking about it, of course, and because I can't keep my mouth shut about the paranormal, and the people that are into it at work are really excited about it, and the people that are freaked out like, no, 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 oh my god, no
Yeah.
ghosts, no ghosts. Why? What happened? I don't want to talk about it. You'll feel better if you. I don't want to talk. Okay, I forget sometimes that. To me, it's fun and exciting and interesting. To a lot of people, it's absolutely terrifying. And that all links back to all your people that are afraid of the dark had something happen to them. Like the weirdest thing is, and hopefully we'll have her on the show eventually on the council, is my ex wife, Christine. There was a vacant lot, and then they built a house on it. And Christine lived in that house. And she constantly talked about something that was absolutely terrifying, and it was white, and it hung out in her parents' bedroom. And she saw it a couple times, and describing it was terrifying. She would run to her room when she had to, when you had to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night and told stories. And she had a couple of those stories where my dog was playing in the backyard, and we grabbed a box of treats, and we went out and we went to give treats, and all of a sudden here's this second dog. And they would hear a dog sometimes barking that wasn't there in the backyard. So they go on vacation, the three of them, her mom and her dad and her, and they have school friends, these boys, watch the house while they're gone. Take in the mail, let the dog out.
Yeah.
Make sure he's not getting into trouble. And they did the same thing, and the same thing happened where all of a sudden this dog appeared and he wanted treats. And Christine didn't really talk about it. They heard like all of a sudden they'd be sitting around and there'd be a knock on the front door, and the dog would look up, but he wouldn't bark, and he would just be staring, looking up. Like the ghost was in the house knocking on the door, and the dog's like, why did you do that?
Yeah. What's wrong with you? I
She's,
can see you.
yeah. I can't remember what grade she said she was in, but it was in one of those, like, seventh grade and up or sixth grade and up when you're having like classes in your day, not just being in like third grade all in one room.
Right.
And all of a sudden, she was reading something because Christina's a voracious reader. And all of a sudden, she heard one of the boys that was one of her friends, childhood friends, go, "Oh, yeah, Chrissy Kane's house is haunted." Like the whole room went silent. And she's like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah." And they started to tell the story about this phantom dog that would just appear out of nowhere. And she's like, "Yeah, we kind of see that a lot." Because they had like one collie at different times. It was like two or three different dogs.
Yeah.
Like the one was really smart and amazing and awesome. The other one, they loved it.
My name is Jeff.
I am dog. Yeah, that pretty much. So there is that. So there, I don't know. I didn't feel anything or sense anything. The old lady in the chair was a lot more real. But oh, Tanner goes up to Deepov, different point of view, and it's he describes the guy when he brought the clipboard and the first aid kit. What happened was they were cooking and they were, like most accidents, not paying attention. He got 400-degree cooking oil in his eyes.
Yep.
Welcome to Monday Night Stories, kids. Like and subscribe. So Carl was not feeling well, but again, went right back to work. Go to a doctor. No, even Z, the manager up there. You go to a doctor? No. She's this feisty little Asian woman. Z is awesome. We absolutely love her. Everybody loves her and respects her. I don't want to imitate her and have people thinking like, "Oh, you're being mean." No, we love Z. She's been there forever, I think. I may be wrong on that. I don't know. I've been there 6 months. How the hell do I know? Anyway, so when Tanner comes back, he's like, "God damn it, would you, of course, the one, we have these gray clipboards that open up, and there's a bunch of different, whatever's going on. Oh, accident, lost, damage. There's a bunch of different papers. And lately I was due diligent on getting them all up to date, but I've kind of been lax on that. And it's not really my job. We should all be doing this on every shift, which is another one of my. How come I'm the only one making copies? Why isn't this done? Where's our count for the food tickets? Yeah. Stop turning me into my father. So God damn it, would you believe it? The one clipboard thing I grabbed, it doesn't have the employee. It didn't have the employee. It only had one of the two forms that he needed. So he had to come all the way back down the mountain. It's 1,800 feet at the top of the restaurant there, folks. And he had to come all the way back down the mountain, then go all the way back up. We have to charge the golf carts. You're wasting power. Damn it. So he still doesn't want to do a report, but then he has to like sign this release. So if you go blind tomorrow, it's not our fault because everybody fucking told you to go to the doctor. So I said, "Is this the same guy that was with Wendy and I at the ballroom?" It sure sounds like it. And the way you described him, that sounds like, and it's Carl. That's the name. He was looking for his BMW key fob. He lost his key fob one night. I hope he found it. Because I said, "You don't need to worry about the ballroom. The different point of view kitchen is haunted." He's like, "Oh, yeah. In the ballroom, you feel like you're about to be fucked with. In the Sunset Cabana pool, you feel like he really wants you to stay. In the Deepov kitchen, you feel like you're not welcome. You feel like who's ever there wants you out now. Get out. It's not a good feeling. We have way more staff injuries at the different point of view than we have at Point in Time, which is the main restaurant. Like if you're like, "Hey, I'm in my room and I want a pizza. Come up to the third floor and deliver my pizza." you're going to get it from the different. You're not going to get it from different point of view. That's a luxury restaurant that only serves that restaurant, and only for, I think it's 4:30 to 10 at night, and
Yeah.
then it's closed. It doesn't. The bar will stay open a little bit longer, but the food serving area is closed, and then the bar is closed at 11 because third shift locks the gate. And if you get locked up there, you better be really
You're
nice.
stuck. Yeah. You're stuck.
Because if you break through that gate and we get your license plate number, you're going to get sued. Because what's wrong with you? Now we have to send prop ups up there to fix it. Chris is not going to be happy. He's got enough stuff to weld all day. He doesn't need extra stuff. He's a good welder. Leave him alone. So Tanner gets all the way back up there, and Carl only wants to talk about the ballroom. And Tanner says, "So were you the one that night with Bill and Wendy?" And he's like, "Yes." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, "What have you just?" Tanner hasn't seen anything yet, but he wants to see something. Dude, that's a dangerous path. You need to be careful. Just let it happen naturally. Don't force it, or just let it happen naturally. Don't force it. Take it from experienced idiots who, yeah, you'll see stuff that will scar you for the rest of your life. So that's all he wanted to talk about was the ballroom for the rest of their interaction, and then he went back to work, and he was coming back to work the next day on Sunday. So, but even Tanner says, "Yeah, I don't like the kitchen and the different point of view. It doesn't feel right. It's like somebody's yelling at you to leave."
Those would be the ones I would love to go through with uh, a lot of the field systems, looking for the electromagnetic fields, looking for all of that, because those tend to be places where that kind of an entity may be there, but they also tend to get, you tend to find that those areas also have extraordinarily high EMF fields, and people who are susceptible to it get that same feeling. It can cause all kinds of concerns, and it can cross wire your brain very quickly.
Yeah,
And so
but we
that's
don't.
why so many old houses that have been upgraded and had they had 20 electricians come through it over the last 100 years, and each one did it just a little bit different and screwed it up.
Yeah,
And now you're walking into this incredible EMF cage
this terror
that,
cage.
you know,
I
why is
like
why
the
is my brain melting?
or the one video where it's like, "So who did your wiring?" "Oh, my nephew. He's an electrician." "When did his house burn down?" "Oh, about 2 years ago." Wait, how did you know his house burned down? But I don't have any problem hanging out in the point in time kitchen or the point in time restaurant. I don't have any problem hanging out at the Cascades or La Cantina or the front part of the building. Or Highland's a little mixed. Sometimes Highland feels like something's about to happen, but most of the time Highland just feels like any old building. Nothing special. It's just a building.
Yeah.
But the ballroom always feels like something mischievous is right around the corner. Like someone's about to fuck. And the shadow, the old lady, the chair, uh, noises, the the rattling of the door got debunked because that got pulled up on the camera, and that was literally a drunk dude who was lost, like grabbing the doors, because that's on the second level. There's the glass doors, and then there's a pathway that connects to the fifth level of the main building. So if you're
Yeah.
on the fifth building, you're above the lobby. You can look down on the lobby. The lobby's on the third level. You can walk all the way across to the ballroom, and you're now on the second level of the ballroom because it's so disorienting and confusing being there for a short amount of time because you think you're on one level, but you're really not on the level that you want to be on. Where's the lobby?
Yeah.
Well, first you have to go to the staircase. Why? Or the elevator. Why? Because the lobby's on the third level. Yes, because usually they will be hanging, we'll be doing stuff, walking in and out. Excuse me. I'm right at the security office. Where's the lobby? Just jump in. No, I'll walk. Oh my God, just jump in. You're at the actual other side of the building and 2 floors below where the lobby is. If you jump in, I can drive you to the entrance in like 5 minutes. If you walk there, it's going to take like 12, maybe 11 if you take the elevator and you're lucky enough to get bing right when you're standing in front of it. Most of these elevators stop working, trap everybody inside, and the hotter it gets, the more they malfunction. My favorite is housekeeping. Yeah, what's going on? Can you help so and so who's in the elevator? She can't get out and she's between floors. Holy crap. Prop ops, help.
On my way.
I've got a key, but you guys are going to get there faster and you know what you're doing. And there's only 3 of us, and there's like 8 of you at one point. It's just easier to have them handle it. They're AC guys and electricians and plumbers, and
Yeah.
that's what they do. That's what they get paid for. I'll do little stuff to help them, and they're super appreciative. But, dude, I'm an amateur comparatively because most of them have been working here for years. So they know when they go, oh, this, okay, here's what you need to do.
Yeah. Go here, do this. Lick your fingers and touch these two, and then it'll work.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, great.
holy
Thank you.
crap, that worked. Yeah. Or there's a lot of, I'm big on favors. I'm big on reciprocation of favors. I'm big on, because I don't have a lot of money, but I do, till my body gives out, my mind goes away, I can help out where, well, it's the same thing. I pick up towels at the falls at night, and the whole, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do. Dude, you guys work hard. And it serves 2 purposes. For one, I like to see the place clean, and then you guys come into a clean place. I'm not going to pick up the drinks. That's on you. But I can throw the towels into the thing while I'm leaving because it's easy to collect them into like 2 areas and then just carry them up the steps in one area or carry them just from like the side of the thing to the front. It's not that far. It's really not that far. I mean, if you had to do it repeatedly, that would be a giant pain in the ass, and that's what you guys get paid for. But for me to do it like 2 or 3 times a night to grab 1 or 5 towels, or by the handful when there's a group visiting, not just the last group, all the groups, Jesus Christ, in large numbers, humans are disgusting. So, wooden chairs. They're great on the back. So I don't mind helping out, and you pay it forward. And even so, I need you guys sometime to help me out right away. And we've got a lot of guys that, even though they're just maintenance, they're another set of eyes and ears for security. And a lot
Yeah.
of them listen to our channel all the time. So if we're looking for somebody for whatever reason, or this or that, you'll hear them start talking to us. Hey, this guy's over here. He's doing this. Okay, we'll be right over there. Because again, there's usually only 3 of us, and so many times, hey, I'm gonna go to the golf course. Okay, so that means I got to drive out of the resort, past the sheriff's rodeo place, all the way down to the actual golf course, and then go into the golf course and like check it out, lock everything down, arm alarms, it's not a 5-minute task.
Right.
It's a 40-minute task because of the distance that you have to drive. Whether 90% of the time nothing's going on out there because it's really dark and the sprinklers are on. That's a huge deterrent. even teenage kids don't want to be hit in the face with the sprinklers when they're doing shit they're not supposed to on a golf course. They get really mad. But there's still structures out there that need to be armed and, checked on. So about that time, hey, front desk to security. Security, go ahead. Hey, number uh, Joe's, Joe Smith, this number room. He's locked out. Okay, we'll be right there, which means he forgot his key card. It happens. It happens a lot. Everybody's embarrassed. Dude, don't be. You're not at your home. You're not in your own area. You're in a strange room, in a strange place, and the keys that you normally carry are kind of useless right now if you brought them.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it. And I make a joke about it every time, and I've only encountered a couple people that have done it where, hi, oh, I locked myself out. I'm so embarrassed. And I'll look down and I'm like, by our protocol and bylaws, I'm only allowed to make fun of you if you're holding the ice bucket. Nope, no ice bucket. It's okay, dude. Don't worry about it. It's fine. This is like half of my day is signing in keys and doing lockouts. So and so's locked out. Can you go let him in? Just show me your ID, and then I go away, and everybody's happy. Now, sometimes there's a problem with the mag lock. Sometimes it's blinking yellow and red. Okay, the batteries are dying. I need to have either I can do it or prop. Usually we have prop ups do it because they have more batteries than us, and we're in charge of the safe in the room, and that's the other major thing that I do all day long. Oh, go to this room in this building. It's the safe. Okay, is the guest in the room? No, they've already left. They're gone. They already checked out. Housekeeping noticed that the safe won't open. Okay. That still takes unless the room is like next to the security office, I still got to drive there, get out. We don't, even if the room is empty, we still knock security 3 times just in case, because you never know.
Yeah.
There could be chicanery and shenanigans going on in there. You go in there, and now I've got to, most of the time, it's the batteries. So now I have to unscrew the back plate, put new batteries in there, put it back on. Okay, we're golden. But that's still going to take, 15, 20 minutes. I mean, I'm no super tech whiz where I can get that done in 5. And sometimes it's caught in between cycles, and the little thing from the 1980s with the fucking phone jack plug-in for all the safe, and then you hit the master code and it pops the lock and it erases whatever, no matter what four number whatever they put in there, it's gone now. Totally
Yeah.
gone. This thing has been completely reset. It's a very simple safe lock system. But that still takes a minute. And then if they're in the room, now we got to chit chat and they're going to ask me questions. So that usually happens simultaneously, but there's only 3 of us. So that's why prop ops is invaluable, to have them kind of backing us up, because it's another set of eyes and ears and hands. Because usually one of us is doing something and the other 2 are doing a report or doing a paperwork thing or doing something in the office, or, hey, security, can you come help me do this? Oh, I need to get into the shipping and receiving. It's after 3 o'clock. Angel's gone. Okay, do I have to pick you up or are you going to meet me over there? Oh, I'll meet you over there. Okay, I got to drive to the other end of this. So it's the amount of time that I get to yell at people, which I do so love, and the amount of time that I do busy work. I was telling them, I spent 4 years at CVS Caremark, SilverScript, and Medicare D doing uh, uh, paper claims for Medicare D, which is self-administered drugs and vaccinations. And I told them, I'm like, You guys, we get paid more, but we do this at first, and we do about the same amount of paperwork and busy work that they do for the government because we have our list of things that we need to do that are done. Each hour, you've got about 8 things that you lock this, make sure this is closed, check this room, go here, put the umbrellas down, do the. Normally, it's only when it's windy. But lately, it's been windy as fucking Phoenix. So we've had a couple of them tip over. Like, oh, whoa, like a giant kite. So, but a lot of it's just locking doors, and then some of it, like now and then, we'll get perverts. So when the women that clean the spa, you have to lock them in there. And a couple of the new women do not want to be locked in there because we always don't get there immediately when they call to be let out, and they have a
Right.
bunch of other things to do. And a couple of them don't care. They're like, okay, cool, another 15 minutes. My phone, telefono. So it depends on the person you're working with. Where, Milady wants to be locked in because she's very attractive. So dudes are creepy. She taught me the Spanish word for werewolf, and I'm very upset about it. It's just lobo, hombre lobo. That's just wolf man. That's You don't have a word for like lycanthrope or no, just hombre lobo. Okay, that's I'm sad now, but okay. I really wanted it to sound a lot cooler because half the time stuff sounds way cooler in Spanish. Greenhouse, no. House, green. Okay, Casa Verde. Well, I get it now. All right. Casa Grande. It's not just a house. It's fucking huge. Okay. All right. It's huge. We get it. I understand. So yeah, that was the most recent paranormal. God, we went all the way back to this paranormal thing that has happened to me. But I count that unless I'm having some kind of, I'm dying and nobody told me.
Do you get to have all of the paranormal? And I have had in my life probably 4 or 5 instances my entire life that I can attribute to paranormal.
Mm,
Actual visualizations, paranormal instances
really?
that have occurred. And I have been told those who, by people that I've known who have claimed to be sensitive to the paranormal,
Mm-hmm.
that I tend to block or cause problems, whatever the case may be, when
You do
that
have a
happens.
very grounding aura.
I told you about
Shit.
working at the haunted movie theater.
Yeah, where she told you to go away because you were scaring
The
the ghosts.
No, they at the movie theater, the manager, all the ladies wanted to work with me on the overnight shifts
Mm.
because nothing ever happened when I was there.
There's nothing that
The nights,
happened
if
when you.
I wasn't there, shit happened all the time. And when I was there, nothing happened. Zero. There would be no problem. Oh, okay, that okay. When I was in Paris and we were at the
Oh
uh,
yeah, yeah. Jim Morrison's
yeah,
cemetery.
we were at the
His grave.
cemetery, and my sister said
Your
that
sister.
if as long as I was 30 feet or more away from her, she could feel, sense all kinds of things. And when I walked up behind her, the cemetery's busy. There's all kinds of people. She was looking away from me, and I started walking back towards her. And she says, "I knew you were standing behind me because everybody stopped talking to me."
Nah, your
Okay,
your
all right,
ghost
I can see
Moses. You
that.
make them part out of the way. No,
So I
we
used to go up to the ranch. and we had the burial grounds. We literally had a burial ground in the back path, in the back pasture behind the house. And people would say, "Oh, we felt all kinds of things." Boy, you come out here, it feels completely different. I don't know why. I want to meet them. I used to. I always sat down, opened myself up. It's like I want to meet. I want to know more. Teach
Yeah,
me. I'm here to learn.
dude, say the
Nothing.
word. I mean, you want to go there now? We'll just
Yeah,
stop the podcast. You can meet me there, and we'll just kind of tool around. And because
I would.
Dustin
I need to
told
go up there sometime.
Dustin told me that Boxer and Ambridge and Hilton, the ones that actually own the property, would probably not be cool with an official ghost hunt. And he's right because the idea of ghosts and paranormal, people love at an arm's length. They don't want it in the area that they're in unless they're a true enthusiast about it and they love that shit. But if you've traveled across the country and you have a business meeting tomorrow at 8 a.m., you don't want to be bothered with things that go bump in the night. You want a good night's sleep after you went for a hike and then hung out by the pool and got a great meal at the restaurant and maybe some room service and a couple drinks. And then, we have the people that want to party and they end up getting sent to their room. And then we have the people that just want quiet. So they even try to divide them up. Like if we've got families, they put them on the other end of the fucking building. They don't, you don't want to hear
Oh,
screaming kids if you've got you know, some kind of symposium or a convention the very next morning. But Dustin said the best thing that we could do is kind of do it commando style and do it in general areas. So,
yeah.
God forbid something happens. Like he used the example, let's say you and Cliff are doing ghost hunting, and God forbid Cliff has a heart attack. Now, the insurance companies want to know why he was in a room that he didn't rent in a hotel that he's not staying at.
Right.
Whereas if he was just visiting the ballroom, well, we're thinking about having a convention here, and I just wanted to take a sneak peek because
Yeah. If you're in a public area, you can be there.
Yeah, I'm allowed to take strangers in any public, non restricted area. So, in theory, you could say, hey, you could literally go up to the lobby and say, well, the Masons and I are thinking about having a convention maybe in a year or two. I just wanted to take a look around real quick, but I don't want to be a bother. I don't want to, dude, security, that's who they will call is either us or, you know, the sales department that handles the big groups that can,
Right.
Kiara's one of them, I believe. She went on a ghost hunt with Tanner and I because Tanner's the same way, where things kind of get calm around him. He's a very calming guy. So, because I work with him Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and I can't remember what is Halloween on a. Hold on.
Business get interested in ghost hunts and the like only at Halloween and only in very limited scale. So they might say, "Oh, okay, we would be interested in, we would be willing to let you come and spend from 11:30 until 1:30 at another point in time with our people only in that place, only on Halloween, and only because you gave us 6 months advance notice and we want to do all this. And you showed us that you have your own liability insurance, all the boxes are checked, and we get to review whatever you come up with so that it doesn't put us in a bad light.
Well, okay.
We're interested in that. But that's a long time coming. You got to spend a lot of time and kiss a lot of ass to get into that condition.
Into that capacity, yes. However, it's now May, so we basically have 5 months to orchestrate this. Now, rooms, depending on the time of year, rooms are at different rates or what kind of member you are. Because there are 3 rooms that people have died in that I would really like to do an all night research thing in, but that would mean having to rent the room, and none in that position right now. So,
Yeah.
what I just looked at is Halloween this year. Well, Mischief Night, Devil's Night, it's Thursday. Friday is Halloween, and then Dia de Muertos, the November 1st, is Saturday. So I will be working all 3 of those nights.
Yeah.
So my plan is to kind of set up like you and Guy and Cliff and Ron and whoever else wants to be a part of it. And then if we do rent a room, stay in that room and just record stuff all night. And also do Hidden Valley is supposed to be super active after 1 o'clock, and you do have the feeling that you're always being watched, but that may just be because it's a valley, and it's literally a valley. There's mountains that go up on that side, and there's 2, you know, an entrance and an
Well,
exit. Yeah,
and Hidden Valley is rough enough, and still, it's not. The area is still wild enough that you still have all sorts of creatures. So you're going to have coyotes roaming in the area in the evenings. You're going to have javelinas roaming in the area in the evenings. You have all of that still making its way through there
yeah.
because it's a nice little funnel that they can get through to other areas and they can jump into creek beds and river
We
bottom.
we had a report of 7 javelina, a family of 7 javelina traveling. They basically were by building 25 and ran across where the gates are to lock off the different point of view, so you can't go up there because it gets locked at 11 and then it gets opened at like 6 or 8, I think. I don't remember when it gets locked because people like to walk up there and look at the
Yeah,
view, which, hell yeah, I wouldn't mind setting something up at the top of the mountain because this whole place is it's just a like a pyramid of psychic turbulence. But I definitely want to do the different point of view, and that would have to be after 11 because there's no way in hell I would want to be in there during business hours because it's fine dining. We don't need to be involved in that. I'd rather be in there after it's closed and set up a camera and then come pick it up the next morning.
yeah. Set up a camera and some recorders. Be able to set up camera and recorders outside because you know it's all locked down. Nobody's going to be in there. It can run, operate, and as long as the organization doesn't have a problem, that you could easily get an investigation group to pile on and say, yeah, we've got equipment you can use. We'd be happy to have it if we can have the whatever you get. We want to be able to peruse the evidence and see what it says and go through all the rest of that. And
Mm-hmm.
everybody has a good time. And then the hotel, the company may not have a problem with that. They may say that's because you're not intruding. This unintrusive. You're not doing any. You're not going broadcasting live. You're not doing any of the rest of this shit. Then you can come back and you say, okay, here's what we found. We want to go ahead and post this on our webpage, and we're going to say this is where it is, but you have to have permission to go there. If you want to
Yeah.
go and have a good time, you should go to the restaurant. It's a wonderful place. You can go up there at 7 o'clock in the morning. You can walk up there at 10 o'clock at night, but you got to be out by 11 because they're locking the gate.
Yeah. Well, even the ballroom. Wendy saw an arm, and multiple people have stories of it was like somebody dropped a stack of dishes. It was like somebody threw a bunch of pots and pans on the ground. And then they go around the corner and they go in the area where they heard it, and there's nothing. It's just, you know,
Oh yeah. To do it right, you need 5 or 6 cameras with microphones, and then you need 5 or 6 recorders, audio recorders that you can set in other areas that might be outside that would be swept or covered by the camera, but now you've got a recording from the other side of the camera's
yeah,
area. So now you can triangulate, you can pick up, well, I heard it on this camera and I heard it on this recorder. So it had to be in this area.
in this area. Everyone at work is very interested in it. Every everybody I've talked to about it wants to be a part of it. And then we
Yeah.
can interview a bunch of them because they have their own stories. We kind of,
One of the things
we
that
kind
I've
of,
been thinking about,
mm,
the Scottish Rite every year at the House of the Temple in Washington,
oh
D.C.,
yeah,
does a
yeah,
ghost hunt.
Burl
Well,
Ives.
the Scottish Rite Temple in Tucson was built in 1950,
Mm,
1915 or 1919, something like that. But that building is very much the same. It's beautiful structure. It's got all of these old rooms and everything. I mean, right next door, one of the first churches in Tucson was
really?
bought by the Scottish Rite and is being turned into a Masonic library. And the gentleman who was doing all of the work was a well renowned, well respected.
Uh oh. Am I losing you? Well renowned, well respected. Rob? Rob, can you
Can
hear
you
me?
hear me?
Can you hear me? Oh, I hear
Yeah,
you
I've
now.
got you. Okay.
I heard well
Well,
renowned, well respected, and then you froze until I heard,
well,
can you
well
hear me?
renowned, widely renowned, well respected 33rd degree
Oh,
Mason in
oh,
the Scottish Rite.
it's way up there.
And he was the deputy to the Sovereign Grand Commander for Arizona for many years. He has, he was an archaeologist, a historian. He studied religions all around the world. And Rex literally died in the midst of the work that he was doing in this beautiful building and all this work that he's been doing. So that was one of my things is I thought it would be something I would have to walk very gingerly on, but I would love to present that as an opportunity
Mm.
if there were others who were if there were others in the Scottish Rite and the groups that would be interested in doing that, that would be something that would be fun to bring in one of the some of the investigation groups and bring in some
Yeah,
of our folks
Tucson's
and be
fun.
able to do it. This building is extraordinary. It's 3 floors.
Really?
There's goodness, there must be 8 different lodge rooms, including this huge lodge room, which is the primary room, and all of the other things, kitchen in the basement. They used to have a cigar lounge in
Oh,
the basement
nice.
many, many years ago, which they've converted into a ballroom. They've done all of this stuff. So again, the building was from the 1915 or 1918 on and has been continuously used by the Scottish Rite and Freemasonry, excuse me, in Tucson and in Arizona.
Yeah, yeah.
So if there was a place that is going to be haunted, I would think that would be one of them. Although it might not be the kind of haunt that some people want with the spooky oogie boogies, it might be more a bunch of very pious yet smartass gentlemen
Yeah.
walking around saying, hey, don't touch that. Come over
Oh,
here. Let me explain to you the mysteries of the universe. Ha! Just kidding.
you're not going to get anything. The first story I heard about the ballroom was from Dustin. And he said, you have to talk to Dan, you have to talk to Daniel, you have to talk to a bunch of other people, which probably most of them will agree to being interviewed by us or even like this in a Discord format. Well, I got a list of dudes that already want to come over and learn blacksmithing. They just have to get the time right. So Dustin said that there was one night that they had to go to the ballroom and they had to go to the main big area, and it felt a little weird, but they didn't pay any attention to it. And the three of them started, the door closed, and they started to walk across. And I'm trying to remember exactly the story. We'll get him to retell it. At one point, they turned on flashlights, and that's when all three of them noticed that there were three guys in the room, but there were four shadows on the wall.
Yeah.
So they kind of like, oh, and then did what they had to do and got out of there quick. So I hope he likes doo-wop. I sing a lot to him. Sorry.
the joys of dealing with the other side.
Yeah, he's gonna like the platters. He knows it.
See, my whole thing is that I have been there so many times for people who were crossing over. And so many of the ones that I was there for were people that I didn't know. I was the one that made sure they weren't alone
Yeah,
during that moment. Rolled up in a big yellow truck or a big white truck or a big red truck with flashing lights. And I was the one that was fortunate or unfortunate enough to be the one to make sure that they didn't leave alone.
yeah.
So that maybe that's part of it. I don't know. But that becomes the curiosity.
I think we'll get something. There's a very strange feeling there. Everybody loves it there. The place is beautiful. It's a lot of fun. But underneath, it's like being at Disneyland. It's like this is great, but there's also something dark here. I can feel it right around the corner. And I think we'll get something in Hidden Valley. We'll definitely get something in Different Point of View Kitchen and the Sunset Cabana. I should set up my camera for some time in there now and see if I can.
Just see what you get.
Huh?
Just see what you get. It would
Yeah.
be very interesting, very
Nobody.
curious.
Yeah. Nobody goes into the cabana. They just check out the pool. Or if housekeeping goes, they just restock the towels, clean up, dump the trash.
Right.
If prop ops is needed, they just go there and fix. But the cabana has been multiple different things, and then the last owner tried to make like a like a 2 bedroom. It's like a 2 bedroom apartment with a fireplace and the bathrooms on the outside. The problem is that there's a leak in the plumbing in this place, and this is the most humid building on the premises.
Yeah.
So I used to go a couple hours a day and just let all the humidity out of there. Like, dear God.
So
But
they're
there's
not
no
doing
like,
it right.
yeah,
You have to call it the sauna.
there's no like plans for it. It's very sad. It's like the
You
Hidden
have to call
Valley.
it the sauna in charge.
It's like the Hidden Valley pool. It's like it's just going to remain abandoned and ignored forever. It's like this is neat. You could have a whole little place of it. Yeah, it was an ice cream parlor or a pizza place, and then they changed it. It's like, why the hell isn't this a bar? Oh, there's not enough business to keep a bartender on. Okay, that makes sense. That I understand because yeah, it's the same reason I got into a big argument with a guy. Look, this is I modeled it after there are no forks in the medieval times, so there are no forks at the medieval times. There
Mm.
are no people under 21 allowed in the over 21 adult pool. And most of the time I get a chuckle, but this one fucking guy, Wendy goes to the adult pool. There's kids. Okay, deal with it. The dad is giving me a problem. And that was the repeated call over and over and over again. And then she sounded really stressed out. Oh, okay. I drive over there. I park. This guy, she's all upset. I can tell just by working with her for a couple months now. Say, hey, sorry, you can't have these kids here in the pool. Are we, this guy filibustered for 20 minutes. I'm a lawyer. Okay, that might be a flex from where you're from in New York, but that's like the equivalent of you're almost homeless in Phoenix. Our lawyers, they're a joke, dude. they advertise on billboards and the radio, and they get songs and jingles and dress up in superhero costumes. You're, you're, dance monkey. So where you're coming from, and anyway, if you lawyer like the way you're having an argument with me, how are you still in practice? Because you fight with emotions, not logic. I have shot down every single one of your arguments. And the best part is there's these two little old men observing this whole thing, and they just look disgusted. And they're not looking at me. This, okay, look, we've had some phone. Who would call? It doesn't matter who would call. We're here. We're here because we got a call that that you're asking us to lose our liquor license. No one's going to lose their liquor license. This is a bar. You have children in a bar. Do you sneak them into the bar at Chili's? It's not a bar. It's a bar. Look, there's a bar right there. Signs posted everywhere. There's like 12 of them. No one under 21 in the area. Get the fuck off, little kid. And it was like at the end of the conversation. I'm a lawyer. It took all of my energy and I still got out. Oh, okay. And then I walked away. I'll just let you talk to my supervisor. I'll just let you talk to I became a repeater at that point because I realized this guy left logic like the third sentence in because he knew that he wasn't going to get anywhere with me, that these kids need to be out of here. You're discriminating against them because they're under 21 in a 21 or older area. Absolutely, yes. They can stay. No, they can't. God, you argue like a woman. Which one is your wife? Can he have his balls back, please, so we can end this? I know you three are enjoying this, but the rest of the people are not. You tell him. Like the other lady, I'm sorry, you're going to have to leave this area. This is closed for a private. There's going to be a wedding. No. Well, if you want a table rolled over your body, that's up to you. We're like moving shit. I'm picking up towels until finally she snapped in. Like, this isn't about you. You can come back at 9. It's fine. It's open till 11. I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry. Then this other lady, I told her like 5 times, I'm sorry. You don't have to keep apologizing. It's not real. No, it's real. I care about everybody, even the ones I'm not supposed to care about. Trust me, it's a curse. Sometimes it feels good to hear I'm sorry because most people don't give a shit. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Okay, evil Yoda, get out of here. Oh my God, get out of the pool. So yeah, I wish I could hit half the people I interact with a chair that are guests. Not because people, but because you're in a hotel. This isn't Vegas. You're inebriated and you're arguing how stupid you are. Don't have glass in the pool. Oh, it's just one bottle. If that glass breaks and it gets into the pool, we have to drain the entire fucking pool. I don't want to do a report. You don't want to get in trouble. Just please take the glass. Why don't you even tell them? Put it in one of your travel mugs. You've got little plastic shot glasses, right? Right? Oh, yeah, we do. Well, then why are you giving me a hard time when you're trying to have a good time because you're breaking the rules and you know it? This isn't Vegas and I am not a cop. Just take that back in your room and come out with something else. Or because Dwayne works overnight and the funniest thing, just go to bed. Just get into your room and go to bed. It's 2 a.m. You're drunk. Go to bed. Of course, he's a big, scary black guy, and I'm not. It's more effective when he does it. Just go to bed. Yeah, but I think it would be good. I think we should. Yeah, the one room. There's been a couple suicide rooms, the pool, the ballroom, and just random places. And hole 14, where the girl committed suicide.
Yeah.
The golf course is a scary place at night, even though you know it's this beautiful, well maintained, manicured lawn. And I mean, the landscapers kind of keep the desert at bay, but it's still the wild desert. There's families of coyotes running around. There's families of javelina.
Yeah. The saving grace is we don't have any reports currently of any mountain lions in the valley. They tend to stay on the periphery. It's hard for them to find their way in without getting seen or caught or injured.
I still put out food, but I did not see the feral cat that I've made videos of. Like and subscribe all this week. But something's eating the food, whether it's a feral cat or birds or who knows. But
So
everybody
the
that's
javelina part.
well, they might have, but
Yeah.
everybody that's from out of town that's seen the feral cat, because he's about 12 pounds. He's a good sized cat, domestic cat. It's a bobcat. Does it have a tail? Yes. Then it's not a bobcat. I swear it's a bobcat. Does it have a tail? Yes. Then it's not a bobcat. It's a mountain lion. Is it solid tan and about 80 pounds? Well, no. Then it's not a mountain lion. You are from. The saddest part was the woman from New York. Did we talk about this already? With the cactus? She thought it was poisonous.
Oh,
I think we did. I think we talked about it last week. Because I didn't know why they were all upset until the very end. And she's like, how long? How long till what? How long till it hits? Till what hits? What are you talking about? Her system. Her system for what? What are you? What? How long till the poison hits her? Oh, no, 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 no. No, that's this cactus. There's maybe some bacteria on the thorns. That there's no. It's not poison. There's no venom. You're fine.
but
She's fine.
it's gonna turn red. It's gonna itch like hell for a while. But
Yeah,
other than that,
she'll scratch herself bloody, but there's no. She's not gonna die. Then I'm like, oh my god, this whole time. That's why they're acting weird and they're not answering questions. They're absolutely terrified that this little 5-year-old girl has only got like an hour to live, and they're all amping each other up. And then my dad's a doctor. Now I'm like realizing, oh, I wasn't looking at this from the eyes of Brooklyn. I was looking at this like
yeah,
Phoenix, like, ooh, that's bad. Okay, no problem. We'll get the. No, we got to get the warm water and the soap. Because he probably also thought, oh, it's venomous. No, it's a cactus. It's fine. Yeah, yeah. I told him, luckily it's not a prickly pear. You'd have to use duct tape to get that out. And they just looked at me, and I'm like, city slickers. This is why they make
yeah.
movies about the. We live on another planet, and it's very hostile out here. You guys live in a rough and tumble zoo. It's totally different.
Yeah, yeah. Not everything out here is out to kill you.
No.
Most everything out here doesn't have a problem hurting.
Yeah. My favorite is just
And
telling them the truth when they go on and on about scorpions, and they're like, well, at least it wasn't a Pepsis wasp. What is that? You know, a tarantula hawk. Now, when you see a black wasp looking thing with an iridescent butt, whether it's blue or purple or orange or red or green or brown, don't go near that thing. Stay away from it. Let it do its own thing and calmly back off. Well, what is that? Well, it's a Pepsis wasp. They're hunting for tarantulas and large arachnids like scorpions and things like that, and they capture them and they sting them. And then they drag them back to their lair, and then they lay their eggs inside of it, and their babies eat their way out when they hatch. And the whole while, the tarantula, or the giant scorpion, is alive during the entire process. Oh my God, that's horrific. Yeah, it's awful. Nature is fucking cruel and horrible. Here's the bad part. It's ranked number 2 on the world's most painful stings. There's no antidote. It'll wear off within a couple of hours, but basically just lay down and start screaming.
yep,
The look on their faces
nasty.
is just
It
fucking.
hurts like hell.
The look on their faces is just fucking priceless. Like, what? I thought scorpions were. Scorpions are deadly and they're a big problem, but they're not the most painful. Mm-mm.
No, and
No.
it's the little ones you got to worry about with the scorpions because the bigger ones, the venom is not as concentrated.
Yeah, they're just like, go away. Where the little ones are like, all of it.
Yeah,
Oh, oops.
must kill you now.
Yeah,
Well,
get away from me. Yeah. And I get that. I understand. It makes sense, but that doesn't help your day any.
no, and that's why I always tell people. So you know what? The best defense against scorpions, if you if you're willing to do it, you should get yourself a cat, preferably two, because cats love scorpions. They're great to play with. Oh,
Oh,
better. They're
you said
great
the
to
word
play
cat.
with. And yeah, cats think scorpions are the best play toy in the world, and they're basically immune to the venom. So they enjoy it.
Oh,
They're just like, oh, look what I
start
found. And by the
hissing
way,
at them
I ate off.
immediately. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
not. Yeah,
the,
they're not a big fan of scorpions.
my cats used to bring them in after they chewed off the tail. So they'd bring it in and then chase it around the house.
And
And
just
I'm like, oh,
deal with the
bastards.
pictures. Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. Awesome. No, we have a lot of scorpions. Tanner normally goes on somebody walking by your house.
Somebody was walking their dog out front. So, of course, Fenner's going to talk
I
to it
know.
because it's down the next block.
You live on a main
Hey,
road.
stay away, goddammit!
Hey, you don't you ever come back, man? I'll tell you again.
You
What?
heard
He's coming
me.
back? Hey! Hey! But that's awesome. I don't know. We might even get Ed to help us. I'm going to breakfast with Ed tomorrow. I still got to move. I got to move the compressor that was in Paul's garage actually belonged to me, and now I need to move it out back because I had to get rid of that second storage unit, and now I have too much shit. I got to have a garage sale or Goodwill or
I was
something.
going to say it's garage sale time. It's the time of year when you can get away with it without dying.
I am so not ready to have a garage sale. And besides, all the stuff that I should get rid of, I don't want to get rid
Yeah.
of. What about this? No, hold on to that for a little while. But I found that interesting that Willow, when I was in grade school, and on the rare occasion it rained in Phoenix from fourth grade on, third grade on, and sometimes we would have a monsoon type rain where the playground. We don't have our topsoil out here is a fine tan dirt that kind of acts really weird like magic sand when you get it wet at first, and then later it becomes this pliable mud concoction. But for the most time, it's just this kind of loose tan dust. So when it would rain and the playground would get completely obliterated, they'd all bring us into the library or the cafeteria and they'd bring out the projector. And every single time it was The Hobbit. And I figured Willow would have replaced that. The animated.
Yeah.
So nothing's changed. I bet they don't
Of
play
course.
that now anymore, though. I don't know what they do. They probably just look at their phones.
Frank Bashy,
Mm,
Hobbit.
yeah, yeah. All the songs from it and everything, and then Return of the King.
Yeah.
That has the best song with where there's a whip, there's a way.
Yeah.
Send that to my kids all the time. Where there's a whip, there's a way.
That and Frodo of the Nine Fingers. Ring of Bees.
Sung by Glenn Yarbrough and all of his vibrato, shaking voice. Frodo of the Nine Fingers. I almost hurt your throat to use that much vibrato. He was like the master of it.
That we used to sing that at the cons, especially when you were like down, when you were downtown, when you were if you were down at the Hyatt, you could be up on like the sixth floor.
Mm.
Somebody would start it, Proto of
Of the
the nine
nine
fingers.
fingers
Somebody from the other
and the
side,
ring.
and the ring of doom. And
Why
that was how you.
does he
That
have?
was the fun.
That's
That was
awesome.
the call and response, and you would have these beautiful.
Yeah. Things, the thing may change, but humans are the same. We were watching the kids at the prom, and all of a sudden I did the, "Ooh, ooh." I can't do it like guys at the club used to be able to do it. And all the girls would respond, and I turned to Fabian. I'm like, "Yeah, I remember doing that at the clubs." He's like, "I didn't go to the clubs for very long. I mean, I went to a couple in Philly, and this and that. And I'm more of a house party guy." I'm like, "Oh no, 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 me too." But dude, the clubs are awesome though. Sometimes go out there, rave style dance for hours and hours, and some dude would always do that, and the chicks would always answer him. And he just looked at me, and he's like, "Past my time." Like, sorry, that's yeah. I constantly forget. I'm like almost 20 years older than you. You're older than the rest of them, but you're still younger than me. Where I say this, and you're like, sorry, man,
Yeah, nope.
sorry, man." But he does the same thing with. I wish I was as well versed in Philadelphia as he is, because he makes a lot of references to places I should probably know. But
Yeah,
dude, I was out here. I don't know. I 0 to 6, and then for a couple weeks in 2015. That does not make, you know. I
not
barely
old school
remember a lot
Philly.
of the places that you're mentioning.
Today I had a call with the cybersecurity team, and
Ooh,
most of them are young. Same group. So you're looking at the 20, 30 year olds and whatnot. And when I got on before the official start of the meeting, they were all talking. They were talking about music. Somebody was playing, and I was just rolling because uh, they had mentioned a song by a band that I hadn't heard of the band,
hmm,
and so it was the original song was done by King Harvest,
okay.
and Dancing in the Moonlight,
Right. Okay.
and so they're sitting there,
Dancing in the
and it was just
moonlight.
absolutely hilarious because they're like, "Yeah, it's Dancing in the Moonlight by so and so," and they start playing it, and I'm like, "Oh God, guys,
This is King Harvest
what,
out of the
what?"
late
I said,
'70s.
"Guys, I'm old enough to know to have had the original album this came out on from King Harvest." And one other guy goes, "King Harvest," and we're both. And it just turns out that we're both the guys that actually played Santa Claus in
Oh
I
man.
Do It for the Scottish Rite. He's been doing it in North Dakota where he's staying, and we're like, "Oh man." I
That's
go
too
live.
funny.
I'm like, "Guys, I'm this old." I turn my video on. And they're like, "Oh my God, it's Santa Claus." So I started sharing pictures. I said, "Here's a picture of me as Santa Claus. Here's a picture of me at the forge. And
Yeah.
then here's a picture of me in my Gandalf hat
That,
with my church warden." And they're like, "Oh my God."
that's awesome. No, they ask me all kinds of crazy questions, and of course, I'm always up to give information. And I'm just blown away that, like movies that we were new and then fell to the wayside. Or the other thing, it's like, how did we got on the subject of Annie Potts, and it's like,
Ah,
oh, for my generation, Annie Potts is a mixed bag because in Corvette Summer and Who is Harry Crumb, she's this absolute diva sex kitten. But then
oh
in
yeah.
like Ghostbusters, she's Janine, which she's still a wild and crazy, but only for Egon and then later Lewis. But the character's different. Whereas you guys know her as in Toy Story, and he just kind of looked at me, and I'm like, she's Little Bo Peep. She's the lamp in the sister's room or in Andy's room, where she's the one that's constantly in trouble when Andy's playing, oh no, in the beginning of the movie.
Or they know her as Meemaw from Young Sheldon.
Really?
She
Okay.
is
I didn't.
Meemaw
Yeah,
from
I'm
Young
so
Sheldon.
behind.
But yeah, no, that's you mentioned Annie Potts. I'm like, oh, one of my first early crushes.
Yeah,
She
Corvette
was
Summer. Oh my God.
oh
Mm. Well, what? Oh, hold on. What was it?
yeah. She was in Designing Women.
Yes, she's been in a lot of stuff. I didn't want to
Yeah.
make it sound like she's only been in a few. But we were. What else we were talking about that it went into this huge discussion about something else? Because I'm like, I'm probably boring you guys, and Tanner's like, no, I like talking to you because you're teaching me stuff that we probably should have learned in high school that they didn't teach us. Because everything I'm like this, you're like Jimmy Hoffa, no, this guy, this, and they were asking me presidential questions, and I'm like, I don't want to get into politics, but if we're talking about historical politics, the concept of the president fascinates me, and then that's why you know, we lose so many things generations away, and we go on the old references that are already exhausted. So the new generations that come in come blindly into things. So if you don't give them a little knowledge along the way, when they're confronted with something that is not so pure, they're going to make the wrong choice.
Yeah.
So I just find it absolutely fascinating that here's a whole group of kids that have never watched Willow or The Gods Must Be Crazy or The Crow. All the movies that I forced my children to watch, and they're the same age as these guys. They didn't see them. They didn't have some crazy parent like me. This is a good movie. Watch it. Everybody hates it now, but you're gonna love it. It's as far away as our father's heroes and their father's heroes, and so on and so forth.
Yep. I remember growing up and learning those tales. I was fortunate enough to grow up and get all of the old time radio,
Yeah.
be brought into all of that stuff, be taught about those things because my father grew up quite literally in depression.
Yeah.
And he remembered his father. There were, well, 1941 to 1945, there was a substantial period of time that my grandfather was not around because he was off doing his duty
Yeah.
and fighting
He was
for
killing
the Allied
Germans. You could say it.
powers.
The Nazis. The
No,
Nazis.
he was actually in the Navy and was involved. He was actually in every major battle in the Pacific theater.
Really? Oh, that's right. He was
So
in the Midway.
he was in PBYs. So he was part of the rescue groups that would go out and afterwards and in the midst of combat, there were fishing guys out of the water.
Yep. From planes and
So,
boats and all manner of other
oh
shit.
yeah, my father was in. My father went into the Air Force after Korea and was in all the way up through the 70s. And so he got to do all of those interesting and joyful things that we know of in history, but we know very little of the history
Mm.
because a lot of it was a lot of it was black operations. Well, I was talking with my uncle a few months back, and he was in the Air Force. He was years younger than my father, and he was in the Air Force during the same time during Vietnam, and they did a lot of similar things in Vietnam. but he didn't realize that my father was flying sanitized missions in Africa during the Belgian Congo and things like that. And he was taking South Africans into the Congo to go do things, and then flying them out after they did things. And that was a circumstance that he had one story that he would tell that, in his words, was kind of the cleanest story he could tell. And it was an absolute eye opener to me as a young child as to how these South African mercenaries were truly what, if you think of the worst mercenaries you've ever seen in motion pictures or in books, that pales in comparison to what these people did when they went in and did
To
this.
the extremes that they went to.
Oh, yeah. You have money? Okay. I will do the things that you don't want to talk about in polite or impolite company. And off they went. My father had the, the tales that he told. He had the horrible distinction of being the man that had to explain, or he had to bring along some brand new second lieutenants who were fresh out, had no idea what was going on, but they happened to get attached to the special operations group. And these poor guys got a very rapid indoctrination into what world they had stepped into. And I guess a number of them decided that wasn't the area they wanted to be in after some of those missions. Came back and said, yeah, this is not what I thought it was going to be. I'm going to go to flying transport. I'm going to go to flying. I'm going to go. I volunteer to be an alert nuclear bomber pilot. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather not do this again.
Yeah, this is too much. How are you doing? We're at 2 hours and 41 minutes.
I am getting there. I need to use the restroom, and
Me too.
I am looking at two. Gretchen has found her spot,
Oh, she's all comfy.
and I don't know if you can see Fenner.
Yeah, he's right there.
He's passed out.
Oh, I've got this next to me. Stella.
Happy, happy.
She is. She wants to climb in my lap. She's sitting here purring. But I have to use the bathroom before you can do that. Should we end it here or should we keep going?
I say we
After a,
I say we close out and we thank everyone, and we went on a wonderful tirade. And remember that ghosts are superheroes in their own minute.
true. That is. Yeah, hey, Dead Man is even a superhero in DC Universe.
Exactly. The
I
multiverse.
don't know
Who
who
am I to
Marvel is.
say that a ghost here is not a superhero in the next universe
Yeah,
over?
I don't know who the equivalent is for Marvel. But thank you for watching. You could have watched anybody, but you decided to watch us. We appreciate that. Like and subscribe. Stay geeky, and thank you for watching. We'll be back next week,
Right.
and we're still putting together, as you heard, the plan for. We'll figure it out. It'll be a good show.
That
We'll
and
see.
our Dungeons and Dragons one shot. Lunk is very interested in playing in that.
Oh, he is good.
That would be fun.
We'll get Ron and Guy and a bunch of other people. Hopefully, Hannah and Ed will
Yeah,
want to
I
play.
I figure we just get some pre-made characters. We do a one shot, and if everybody wants to be a barbarian, then we have the best fucking barbarian horde that ever existed. That way, the newbies get to have a good time. Everybody can have fun.
If everybody wants to play a barbarian, the DM will just double the amount of orcs and goblins and.
That's right. What happened? It's a barbarian horde. We're taking over. Piss off.
Okay, we'll just do it that way. But yes, thank you very much for watching. We've got a lot of things on the back burner there that we want to bring forward. We're gonna get some artists and well, we'll get back to you on what's going to be next. In the meantime, thank you very very much for watching. We really appreciate it, and have a great night.
That's
You
right.
as
Be
well,
good. If
sir.
you can't be good, don't get caught.
Absolutely. You have a good one. Take it
You
easy.
too, sir. Yep.
Thanks.
Bye.